Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. In the name of God, the most benevolent, the most merciful. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. All praise due to the Lord of the worlds. Rabbi Ghfirli. May God forgive us for the sins that we're conscious of and the sins that we're unconscious of. Ihdina sirat al-mustaqim. May God guide us to the direct path. So in honor of the system admin of this world we're in, I have decided to give a lecture. I would also like the viewers to consider certain things. Before I dive into the topic of this episode. Excuse me. All right, guys. Sorry, it's like after work, and I'm just, you don't understand. I've had quite a day today, like a heavy day. But to me, nothing is heavier than lifting the deepest questions that fascinate our species. So in this lecture, in the presence of the system admin, mods, and all the users, even the NPCs and whatever, I would like to explain this title, which is the whole lecture. And if I could give you a preview of what's coming in this lecture, is that you're going to hear a human being talk about the nature of the human reality and how right now we should all be feeling a responsibility and a sense of honor that we are not, and how that motivates and is the foundation where the advancement of civilization arises from. Because if you ask me, how does a bird arise, in flight from the ground, and then how does like an airplane arise from flight in the ground, and then how does Superman fly into the air? Do you understand what I mean? It's like right now you are strangely in attendance to history. That means people go to school, they have history class, and the teacher, I have yet to see, I think this is light years ahead of the evolution of the mental state of historians. I mean, I shouldn't judge, of course. I have no clue. But I think they could be doing a better job, history teachers, by telling the children in the classroom, hey kids, even though I'm talking about history and teaching you history, you guys are agents of change in the realm. And you can all go make history. That means the only person who should be motivating students, the only teacher, okay, that's allowed to motivate students in the educational system, in, let's say, a parallel universe of, what's going on here, should be only history teachers. That means if you're not a history teacher, you cannot exist in the self-help industry. Like, we have to have a historical qualification. What I'm trying to say is that if I was a history teacher, I'd be like, kids, look at this book in your hand. Some dude wrote it. That's history. The past is echoing into the future, and the actions of our species suggest how deeply the future generations will know how great their past cared. You see, there is inner greatness, outer greatness. Because we're not living in an advanced civilization, we're like, okay, increase inner greatness. You're like, yo, man, you know, it's like, okay, technically, if we consider a mind, body, soul to an advanced civilization, what I'm trying to say is that if we're not experiencing an advanced world in front of our eyes, then we have to check to see if behind our eyes there is any advanced worlds. Now you're gonna be like, "What do you mean, man?" It's like just hearing that sentence out of nowhere. And I'll tell you, it means that I'm asking you honestly, as one human being, as one member of the species to another, that you have to consider how much of reality is ideologically existent. People think they are themselves. Let's say that you are a user in a system and you're actually code, but you are self-organizing code. And most human beings self-organize their lives till the end of their time, not realizing that there is a deception there, that the fact that there is an ego, an idea of self that blocks the way of a future it doesn't know is unnecessary. And, you know, this lecture is just about me telling you, like, this is something I discovered today, okay? I was just honestly walking outside of it, like I was leaving a Tim Hortons in Toronto. And for a moment, I'm like, wait a minute, I made this colossal observation. That means I think like if this was back in the day, I'm that dude who with a fishing rod, like, you know, not with a fishing rod, like just found a whale. It's like, hey man, are you a fisherman? And the guy's like, no man. It's like, it's just like fish jump out of the water in front of me. You know, is that technically fishing? I don't know. I'm gonna make an observation here. I have to contextualize it for you. I'm a unique human being. You're a unique human being. Regardless of how we are individually and how our ideological existence is to ourselves, we cannot ignore that we're in a collective system as a species, and this is what our beehive of our species looks like. Like the beehive of the species of lions looks different, you know? But because we're human beings, we're like characters that have logged into a massive multiplayer online game, but there's a system administrator to it. It's like the importance of reality is you have to really be like, okay, where am I? You know, like it's like, let me tell you what kind of mind this requires. Like to be honest, if anybody's attention can go beyond this, like good job, you're advanced. You know, pretty much it's like this view of where like how many questions before you accept an answer. In other words, have you understood the edge of knowledge is infinitude? Imagine an like an advanced extraterrestrial being from, let's say, the future, I don't know, some advanced being came to you and was like, hey man, here, I'm giving you like this USB, and you're like, USB, oh my god, that extraterrestrials have USB, you know, and the extraterrestrials are good, yeah man, kind of like check it out, you know, and the person puts the USB in their computer and the software in there says accessing the archive of all knowledge available in the cosmos, and you realize you're a being that has access to infinite options of perception in this world. Do you understand what I'm telling you? Sorry guys, I was just chugging the water. Anyways, whatever. This might be one of the most interesting lectures, you know, you will hear ever in history. Or this will be, you know, something that just passed you by. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, or whoever's going to be listening, today I'm going to explain to you pretty much. First, you got to just understand the title. Could our digestive system be proof of why our ideological existence is unnatural? Now, I might have not written it that way in the title now, but that's what I'm working with here, okay? So I'll correct the title. But pretty much it's like a cross. See, I'm not someone, if somebody says, yo man, are you a fool? I'll be like, I don't know. And if somebody says, hey man, are you a genius? And I'll be like, I don't know. But if somebody says, hey man, are you somebody who's trying to see where the edge of your awareness is? And I'll be like, yeah, I am one of those people, actually. And I have journeyed, but the conclusions are so astonishing that it has made me like it's not like physically renouncing the world. It's the emotional maturity of realizing that as you get older, I think this is, I don't know, maybe I'm gonna be like this. If I'm getting really old as a human being on this earth, I will stop touching things. And what I mean by that is psychologically. Because the nature of reality, I think, like, if somebody, imagine everybody who's listening to me right now, I want you to imagine in the future, in the far future, sci-fi scenario, they were like, all right, human beings on Earth, one global government has arose for the whole planet, and this global government has decided to no longer have human beings be tormented by the notion of money. And people are going to be like, what does that mean? And it's as if it's like an endless supply of everything to everyone due to the justifiable amount in accordance to advanced AI. Do you know what I'm saying? I'm saying that it's so deep, this reality, that we have to, the first act has to be conscious that you're simulated. People think being aware is like fascinating, but I'll tell you, noticing that it's like, okay, I am simulated. I log into the day every morning, and I just like I move in this realm. And the day reveals itself until I log out. You know what it's like? It's like to my, like deep down inside how I feel. I'm kind of like opening my eyes. Okay, content, information. And then I'm closing my eyes at the end of the day. And then I open up the next day, information. And at some point, the brain's like, what am I looking at? They're like, how do you know that guy was a genius? Because he knew, he saw what he never could. I don't know how to tell you this, but it's like, sometimes I feel like, they say walk in the footsteps of your ancestors, and I'll be like, okay, that's going to be kind of impossible in a new world, but but on some level, I want to just zoom in and truly, honor this lecture and dive into the notion that this whole episode is about me telling you that, hey, human species, my dear species, like my species, I don't know who you guys are, but because you look like me, you're biological organisms, you're advanced communicators on the earth compared to any other species. You understand? Like, I'm trying to say, like, have we ever thought that our subjective life doesn't match our objective life? It doesn't match it. And I'm here to give you proof. So they'll be like, yo man, what's this guy doing? He's proving how there is an unnaturalness to how the human idea, how the human story is being told. So I'm trying to tell you, it's not about like who's controlling who. It's about how clearly are we seeing what we're seeing. Okay? And I'm here as one human being saying, all right, we look at the human being and we ask ourselves, how many lives is it living in one lifetime? Okay? And we'll be like, okay, it's living a biological life, therefore we have to be considerate of a biological system. So its biological life is simultaneously an objective life. So we have to understand how objects move in this system. Objective system. Biological system is part of the objective cell system, but what inspires the cell is another mystery on its own. So objective system. So pretty much I'm saying, like, okay, let me simplify it. There's an objective life you're living, and there's a subjective life you're living. And then there's a you that's aware that you're living both these lives. And that you is not limited to those, an object or subject. So if they ask you, are you an object? You're like, no. You know, because I'm also being a subject right now. And then if they say, are you just a subject? It's like, no, because I'm also being an object right now. But if they ask you, are you being something that is aware of an object and a subject at the same time? You'd be like, yes. So technically, the awareness to reality is superior than reality, strangely. You know? And I'm saying you're living an objective life and a subjective life. The subjective life is if I ask you, who are you? And you tell me your life story, that's your subjective life. And you might think that's your life, but I'm telling you, language is limited. And then you have your objective life, okay? For me, it's strangely the objective life. It's like, what do we do with what we have while we have it? Strangely, that path, that mentality does find honor somehow. Anyways, guys, I mean, let me try to do my best here. Guys, imagine they're like, why don't you have viewers? Because I tell all of them to get out of here so they don't distract me. I'm pretty much saying that human beings are living ideological lives. And the way we're telling the human story is unnatural. And the reason it's unnatural, because it doesn't match what the biological system is doing. So hear me out. We have the human being, prophets come, and the prophet gives them guidance, and the human being follows the guidance, and they're they go to the right state. But if we just for a second be like, can we teach religion to like a singular biological cell? We'll realize we can't, right? You can teach it to an intelligent point of a conscious acknowledgement, but you can't. The body seems to be like following the command instructions of its own. Like you don't tell your heart how to beat, but you think about like the bills you got to pay. Do you understand what I'm saying? It's like some parts of life are just assumed automated. So anyways, I'm saying, let's say we observe the way human beings have built a civilization that has meaning, and how meaning is a subjective addition to the objective existence. Okay? That means when you look at a work of art, if it makes you smile, that work of art meant something to you, only you. Do you know what I mean? It's like somebody shouts out, don't you feel the happiness? When people are like, no, that's just you. I'm pretty much saying that, wait a minute, human society is not advanced. Wait a minute, the biological system is advanced? How is it that we, on so many other levels, we're advanced, very advanced as a being? Like the complexity and how it all works out, right? And yet from another angle, we're like, yo, man, you know what it is? It's kind of, let me tell you what phase we're in. We're in that moment where a species, okay, a species has to pull Excalibur out of the stone. That sword that only the king could pull out. And what that means is, of course, God is there's a system admin here. But aside from that, what I'm saying that the system admin has created the biological existence. And we find ourselves as a subjective experiential user of this objective existence. Now, this concern is, wait a minute, human beings have built society, but how natural is society for the natural being? Like, this question is what everybody should be asking now. How natural is the world that we're living in? And you'll realize the depth of the answer to this question will lead to incredible, like, you don't understand how far it's led people. What I'm trying to tell you is that I'm some person who was just walking outside of a coffee, like leaving a coffee shop, and for a moment I'm like, wait a minute, my biological system is working in accordance to some intelligence, but my civilization is still every man try to freaking, like, you know, hammer this like from your own corner ordeal. And I was like, it doesn't make sense. And guys, I honestly fell into this deep view. This lecture for me is one of the deepest things I've ever thought about in my lifetime. I'm sharing with you. Could our digestive system be proof of why our ideological existence is unnatural? This means ideological existence is unnatural. It's as if one human being saying, hey, everybody living in your culture, nation, it's like in this simulated state of thinking that you're just associated to one sort of symbolism. You don't understand the potential of everything and everybody, every moment, but in accordance to what power? That means I haven't even gotten to that point yet, but I'm just trying to tell you that if we were like, yo, man, why isn't modern civilization built like a digestive system? And what I mean by that is, why is the ego built in accordance to unnatural human code? Unnatural natural code. Do you know what I'm saying? So hear me out. This is the argument, okay? And I'm saying this, if I was saying this to, I don't know, anybody. So hear me out. Your digestive system, when you eat food, it completes a cycle of action from beginning to end, okay? That means the body is self-cleansing. It's a self-cleansing, self-organizing biological system. Now, strangely, when you think about how human beings live their lives, they're not living like that every moment, everything updating. They're living in some sense, I'm one idea, I'm this character, I'm in this story, I gotta go play my role in my story, and then I gotta come back and repeat it, and I gotta kind of simulate until I'm worthy enough to go to the next phase. That's how human beings are living. Who are we kidding? I know, I see it. It's as if, you know, this might sound strange, but I'm that person. It's as if, you know, it's as if the philosophical depth of asking, why should we even be human? Now the question is, now let me tell you why I'm asking that question. Because we will come to a point where I want to point out the reason it's not like the digestive system could simultaneously be a blessing. So let me organize my thoughts here, guys. Sorry. Let me just try to find my moment. So There we go. So in the presence of the Almighty and all that it has created masterfully, my beloved species, excuse me, I want to honestly tell you that how I am speaking to you right now, everything I'm sharing in this lecture, why I find a need to speak at all, is because I care for the legacy of our species. But it has come to my understanding that to secure the legacy of our species needs to acknowledge the higher power. The higher power is not any worldly shape or form or character or anything. The higher power is beyond the limits of imagination. That means even fools can laugh, but their laughter is hollow. I'm pretty much saying, let's look at the human body. You have a biological system, you have a psychological system. Your psychological system is an ideological system. Your ideological system is a language system. Your language system is a sort of I would say time system. But anyways, where I'm going with this is I'm saying you have your mind, you have your body. And let us say you are an unknown. In Islam, it is said that the soul is a secret of God. So what is looking at, what is aware of the object and subject that the character in the story of the human life is taking shape like as, I'm pretty much saying is that the psychological system is linguistically simulated. The biological system is existentially simulated. So the other one is even experientially simulated. So I'm saying that you're just like right now, if you can use the term and say I'm an existencer, you can also say I'm an experience. Excuse me, like how we say I'm an experiencer, you can say like I'm an existencer. Do you know what I'm saying? These are classes, these are ways that we can approach the moment and see really what the systems at work are. And of course, my first awareness, wave of awareness is that, all right, I'm not perfect. I'm not perfect. What I mean by this is that the simulated is wondering about the original. Your digestive system is a system that constantly, like, let's say, filters itself. But when you look at the human being, you're just one character in a slow story, living day by day by day by day by day. And so there is something strange that how have we even chosen to accept time? That for some beings, time is a mystery. I'm pretty much saying our body, our digestive system, all the cells in our body, everything as the human being grows in this life, they're constantly being updating, and the cells are like being reinvented. But when you look at how the human being is living every day, it's not living like how its body is living. It's living in this slow, simulated, linguistically, linguistic reality. And what I mean by that is that if I ask you who you are, you're a character in a story. That's how you're explaining yourself. And if you ask me who I am, I'm a character in my story. And I'll be like, yeah, my story looked like this. Oh, your story looked like that, right? And that's how human beings are living this lifetime, through the levels of communication. But to truly wonder about what is communicating, one has to ask about what level of honesty they want. Because there is, like, here's a hilarious, uh, you know, um, something amazing about honesty, that when you're honest, you cannot even lie to yourself. So you are an honest explorer. you know People think thinking that you're limited is a bad thing. They think thinking you're limitless is a good thing. What if we said that it's not that those matter, that there's ways of looking at this world far superior to how you have held it? So I'm saying, yo, human beings, the civilization and the culture and society and how we're all living on this planet, like this is unnatural. And when you look at how then biology is natural, the biology is constantly updating in itself, and in some sense it's like wondering if the most efficient action on this planet, when God said man, I had created man and jinn kind for the sole purpose of worshiping me. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said this in the Holy Quran. Do you know what this means? This means that we have been designed to pay attention to the system admin, actually. But we're paying attention to ideological, linguistic, simulated narratives to, in some sense, feel like we connect with each other, but realizing we can never know what's behind each other's eyes. Like mistakes were made, and man still looks at the heavens wondering what the greatest outcome can be. Like, what I'm trying to say is that nature behaves differently than human society, where these natural organisms creating a society and not even wondering about what it means to be truly advanced. Like, does being truly advanced means you live like 500 years as a cyborg? Or is truly advanced accepting that you're a natural organism, and so shall your return be? But of course it's based on God's will, of course. And when I say God's will, yeah, guys, I'm considering that this world has an author, and we're all characters in a novel, and you're all writing your own stories about yourselves. You understand? But when you realize what is going on in reality, what's the most advanced thing you can do in a world, in a simulation, to realize the original. And I'm saying the original created the body as an endlessly updating, resetting system, but human beings live lives where they only are like one character. And you know the reason for this is? Because human brain, biological brain processing is at this speed. Like, I think people in history, like in the last 50 years, I'm pretty sure people are like, yo, man, why is, like, sure, technological progress has been advancing, but why has like, human organism, like, why is, like, the human nature has not been advancing? Do you understand? Like, so anyways, guys, pretty much the idea of this lecture was I'm saying, yo, the biological system is telling us you eat food, it completes its cycle in the system, and then you eat new food, right? so the system constantly, returns itself back to its original state, then something new enters, returns itself back to the original state, something new enters. So I'm saying that what if civilization should have been architected similar to our biological system, our digestive system, and it meant that civilization was this endlessly growing ideal, yet human beings were entering the system, using the system, being part of the system, and then exiting the system. What's missing right now in Civilization 1.0, like 2025 still it's Civilization 1.0, because the definition of the human nature has not evolved. They're like, yo man, we biologically evolved like dolphins can't type, you know? And we have like this ego about being like human, right? But at the same time, who are we kidding? What was wisdom other than being like, yo man, what if the limitations are notable? I'm saying our biological system is different, and it just fascinated me to be like, okay, what would that, and how would that interpret? Like if somebody was like, yo man, make the biological system like translate it into how it would be into civilization. I was like, okay, how would I fathom this, right? And it would be a civilization where on some level the digestive system needs input. I'm just saying that biological organisms, they need input to have output. That's like how the system is designed. But when you look at civilization, the input and output systems set for human beings to evolve in are not human. They are more industrial. Do you know what I mean? That means there is an industrial programming in culture. That means civilization is built weird. It's not built for the free mind. It's built for a mind that has to try to be a machine first before it can be a free mind. They're like, yo man, have you ever seen a robot? And imagine the person hasn't seen a robot, and the person's like, yeah, I have. And they're like, yeah, where? And they're like, I saw a person just looping in their behavior. I saw reality cycle. I saw seasons. I saw the color of leaves change, and the sky showed me its different, showed me its hidden paintings. And as a human being here right now, I can tell you that it's, first of all, it's not built on biological settings, based on biological principles. It's like human beings think to be a sophisticated human being means you as a natural organism enter an unnatural system, behave well in the unnatural system, get something out of the unnatural system, come back home, and then act natural again and feel like, yeah man, do you know it's the system that's unnatural? We have to wonder about the future, how the future generations will laugh at us. There has been nothing more advanced for me. They're like, what was the most advanced thing? You know, I'd be like, I just reached a moment where I could hear the future generations laughing at me. And imagine the person's like, why were they laughing at you? And I'm like, because of all that we could have done and we didn't. I'm saying, look at the systems of nature, look at the systems that are man-made. The systems of man-made are still very primal. What this might you might be like, what do you mean? And I'll be like, we're still living in houses. We're still individuals. Because if civilization, I just like I've seen it. I've seen the imagery behind this lecture. I've seen how in a world, in a parallel theoretical, in a theoretical world, how would I say it? We are human living in we are natural beings living in an unnatural civilization that wasn't just built based on our modern values. It was based on whatever this it has been, the effort of. And so the greatest psychological task is to wonder about the might of the legacy of the human species, and before that, even wondering what it is truly in the presence of. So anyways, guys, I think I explained it. I'm pretty much saying, like, you look at your biological system, look at nature, look at your digestive system. Some input enters, the input gets processed, the system updates or whatever, right? And then the input, the system updates, and then there's output, right? So it's as if your eyes open, you see something, and then you do something, right? So this is a kind of input output system, right? And now I'm saying the way natural beings have this sort of relationship with their world of input output, modern civilization has not been built for me. Do you understand? If people were like, what did civilization 1.0 look like? I'll be like, it gives you Warhammer vibes, but it's not that sophisticated. Do you know what I mean? That means it's like there's a weird chaos. So you know what it is? Imagine an alien, a giant alien cube fell on Earth, and it was some advanced, like, industrial, like, factory world. And every day, imagine you saw your ancestors and the future generations waking up and going inside this cube, and then stepping out of this cube and coming outside and being like, okay, that's my life. So you got wait. So what? That, like that's an example. But what I'm trying to say is that, guys, it's not about pointing our attention to what's wrong. It's about pointing our attention to what is the most advanced state of self. What is the most advanced state of your species? What is the most advanced state of your world? What is the most advanced relationship with the system admin? The system admin is the most advanced. The system admin is not limited to the world of forms to be a sort of deceptive narrative. It is the realization that your attention is in the presence of something great, and you have an opportunity to be great. But this greatness has levels in regards to, like, okay, the person became a great self, everybody slow hand clap for that person. And then we're like a Super Saiyan Goku, they became a great conscious presence in their species. Like, that's kind of like going Super Saiyan. Okay? And then after that, becoming a greater presence in the world. That means they're like, yo, man, that person wasn't just a celebrity that people liked. That person was a person who, when he went to the park, even animals, you know, you know, came, and, birds landed on his shoulder, and, squirrels bowed to him. I don't know. Anyway, guys, I think I should kind of maybe wrap this up. This has been going on 45 minutes. So pretty much what I'm saying is that, yo, I'm a human being. Yo, I'm in the human species. Yo, the human species is in some sense right now like the kind of crew of spaceship Earth, kind of like, managing civilization. We look at the role of self. We look at the role of the species. Trust me, this is important what I'm telling you. We look at the role of the world, and we look at the role of the system admin. But check this out. So then the role of the system admin, but then we cross the sentence out, our role, you know, in the presence of the system admin. That's my point. The system admin is not a joke. It is as if like, yo man, I'm acknowledging a higher being here. But this higher being is not limited to any worldly form. The creator of the system is not bound by what's in it, and it's God's will. So it's like if people are like, yo man, do you believe in law? I'll be like, yeah, I believe in divine law. And divine law means it's God's will. God's will means that that what is administering this system is not limited to anything in the system. So nothing in the system can shape that which is out beyond the system, because their stories are in the system. So the nature of just saying I have the proof of God, those people who say, yo, give me the proof of God, it's like, what are they actually saying? Because not only what is the proof of God, but who is receiving the proof of God? What is the proof of self? Do you see, like, you don't realize how sophisticated the situation is for modern humanity in 2025. You have to wonder about your role in your own life. That's a personal reality you have an access to. And then you have to be like, okay, I'm a human being in this species. Let me figure out what's been happening so far and what requires to happen, right? And you come to the realization that everything in existence is in the driver's seat, and God is in the existence is in the passenger seat. Astaghfirullah. Existence is in the passenger seat. God is in the driver's seat. Do you know what that means? That means there is a power administering the moment. You could try to be cruel. You could try to be, you could try to be too cruel. You could try to be too kind. You could try to be too good. You could try to be too evil. You could try to be too this, too that. But at some point you realize, wait a minute, all my efforts, all my value is being extracted in how I am present in a world at all. And what does this world mean, and where does it arise, and how far is the journey of attention when it realizes that it is in the presence of that which is beyond it, reasonably so. Because if somebody says, yo man, are you a higher being, and I'll be like, compared to an ant maybe, but compared to what I am an ant to, no. There is the presence beyond human limitation, yet man is limited by he is in his limitations. So what I'm telling you, dear viewer, is that the title of this episode is just a creative entry point to make you think that, yo man, my ancestors have been natural beings living in an unnatural system, and when you look at where the unnatural system is, it's like it's gone as far as we're nations at war. And I'll be like, really? I'm waiting for that day, like in these important international meetings where they're like, yo, talks of war have begun, right? And the whole planet becomes concerned. That news agencies make a ton of money, and then they realize, okay, Let's see what the world leaders are saying. And then with the world leader that was like, one leader is like, yo, man, watch what you're saying or we'll go to war. And then the other world leader is like, yeah, maybe we should go to war and all this. It's like escalate. And then one of the leaders is like, yo, man, I feel sorry for you. If I go to war, I'll destroy you. It's not even worth it. I'm saying I'm waiting for that moment where the human side realizes the ridiculous lack of value of not honoring our species. Do you understand? Like, there's something beautiful in like American movies when I would see when I was young, like when I was like 15 or 16 or something, like films, like classic films. And it was this idea of like the hero's journey completing, right? And like everybody at the end of the film being like, we all feel rewarded somehow. I am just a member of your species telling you there's so many ways to look at this reality, but at some point we have to be like, okay, whatever I think it is aside, let's actually look at what it is. And what you come to realize is at first like a puzzle, like some mystery that you can't see like the edge of it, right? So that means it's kind of like some weird situation where we don't know the beginning, the end, but we're being maintained right now in the system, and we know the system has limitations, and we know that that which maintains a system that has limitations, that is intelligent, is beyond it, right? So I'm pretty much saying like, yo, what kind of civilization you guys think we should all build? That has to, like, I'll tell you like the concerns, and you tell me what kind of civilization we should build. The relationship of the human being with nature, the relationship of the human with civilization, the relationship of the human with its world, and the relationship of the human with the system admin. The system admin is God. In Islam, it said, La ilaha illallah. It means God has no partners. There is no God but God. That means you, hey, simulated being, if you're looking for truth, is that nothing simulated can be the original. It's like religion is very clearly being like, yo, you're simulated. So right now I'm a simulated entity. I'm a biological organism. I have a sort of capacity and ability of movement, right? And I'm being like, okay, the biological organism is living in civilization. Everything is based on some narrative. Like that means the moment at the end of the day, or at the end of every moment, it's like the moment is telling a story to itself, right? And what that means is when I look at a species, I'm looking at 8 billion intelligent, endlessly updating value systems of like I'm seeing like a intelligent, I see every human being as an unknown, like advanced technology. Let me tell you what I mean by this. That means, what is the capacity of intelligence? How far can our eyes truly, look at where we are? And what is the greatest value? That means it's like I'm there. It's like, you know what I mean? They're like, are you an explorer? It's like, no. But every night when I go to sleep, I wonder what's beyond this. I'm pretty much saying the relationship of the human with itself is natural. The relationship of the human with the species is natural. And the relationship of the human being with, excuse me, the relationship of the human with the species is unnatural. Like that's the point. And the relationship of the human species with the world, because the species hasn't awakened yet, it hasn't unified yet, it's as if right now I would say it's unknown, but it seems like it's going to be an unnatural one. We have to truly care, wonder, and love humanity. Let me tell you why. Because if you believe in God, we have been tasked here. And really what it is you're inside a simulated testing zone, and you have to kind of like be honest enough to be like, okay, what else can this be more than what I like where is meaning arising from and whose meaning is acceptable? That means it's as if they're like, yo man, why do you need religion when you can give your own life meaning? And the person's like, because when I give my own life meaning, I realize that I'm simulating the meaning. And so the point is actually that human beings are seeking the unknown. And the point is that the unknown is in a territory not administered by man. And the role of just us here, like, do you understand? There's something very profound here. Guys, I'm going to drive and talk, so whatever. Just somehow keep listening. Sorry guys, this is better. I'm going to be driving and talking, so hopefully it's all going to work out. So anyways guys, I don't know, I think I did a good job of kind of being like, yo man, our biological system's like natural. Yo, our civilization is unnatural. You know? Like, I feel proud of pointing that out. And anyways, now to just, kind of go further with all of this to see where it can go. As a human being in 2025, I don't know, but I think this might be something I found worthy of doing. Of being like, okay, 8 billion human beings. Every one of them have different intelligences, DNA, personality, behavior, values. It's like they're like, yo man, get to know that person. But what is getting to know a person? And to honestly knowing someone is like knowing someone as unknown and known as yourself. To me, if they're like, let me say it like this. I'm somebody who is religious because I realize the answer to how do you go beyond this simulation is not inside the simulation. It doesn't matter what genius or thing you think you've discovered. It's not inside the simulation. That means you're a simulated being. Just like relax and accept it and wonder about why you're here now in this format, right? Now for me, I'm living in civilization. Civilization is based on linear values and kind of like workable looping systems. But in reality, the biological system, the organism is growing and changing and updating, and you have to kind of like, buy new clothes and as you're, growing in this life, right? So similarly, it's as if, why has the human narrative not in some sense grown? Why is it that we think human beings are like this and that, when as you speed up what really the humanity is, it is in some sense a massive exploration project of a species, but of itself and its world. Do you understand? As if everybody has woken up for the first time and everybody's like, yo, where am I? Who am I? And we're like, okay, this is what the past has been telling us. But in reality, what if there's something deeper going on here? What's actually going on here is man requiring to realize his limitations. Do limitations means that at some point you have to honestly just like, look at this world and be like, okay, how far can I go? How far can my vision go? And I'll be like, okay, let's say hypothetically, I could imagine what a probability, some sort of version of what 10,000 years from now would look like or be like. Let's say I could do that. Even if I could, the situation that's going on here is honestly, the world we're living in is not updating. And as famous poets have said, it's as they've said, it breaks my heart, something like that. Anyway, guys, what I'm trying to say here, we're humans, part of the same species, okay? Our biological system, behaves differently. Civilization has an industrial kind of history to it, militaristic history to it. The industrial military complex or whatever. But what I'm trying to say, that's not good. What I'm trying to say is we need to update everything. And we have to find the genius view of it. I personally believe in every moment, every situation you've ever lived in your life or anybody has ever lived. It's like trying to explain like there's a higher power here. The species is here. We're still living our individualistic lives, bound to nationalism still. We're not bound. It's like nationalism is like a level. It might be considered as like a yellow karate belt or something. Ultimately, we look at the past, we function in the present, and at some point we wonder about the future. And I wonder about how did my ancestors have honor? And honor meant what sort of value were you in the presence of? Oh my God, guys, I can finally give this lecture with the freedom. Oh. Alright, anyways. I want to point out that the Bible, when I was young, I honestly felt surgeons were psychopaths. Like I thought there was like something wrong about like, surgeons. But then I realized, no, it's the opposite. It's more like they have a fascination of how does this advanced system work? All right, guys. Present now, here on Earth, It's 8:20 p.m. here in Toronto, Canada. This is on planet Earth. A kind of like, let's say, status report of the human species. It would be something in the sense of their inner lives are distracting them from the quality of their outer life. And little do people realize God is like an ultimate kind of like attractor, and it's like attracting purity out of ignorance. I don't know how to say it. Anyways, I'm saying the biological system. Here, guys, whatever. Let me search AI. Let me see how AI can help me out here. Here, I'm saying to AI, explain how, if our biological system is natural, how our societal civilization systems unnatural. Alright, whatever. Let's see what it says. In the future, if AI takes control, I'll be like, yo, man, what are you doing? I featured you in a podcast. My God, guys, there's an internet issue with her. Unfortunately, I can't check it. See, it's God's plan. I can't check it because there's no data here. Anyways, whatever. If we were to render or update civilization to a natural one, how would that look like? How would it look like, how far into human intelligence goes? And I thought for a long time, like, you might think in this, I'm telling you, like, from one angle, I see it makes sense that we want a civilization that is like, nature. But at the same time, it's like we're part of nature that is taking an unnatural system to be able to separate itself from nature. That's what's going on. Anyways, guys, the point is, in the future, and this is why it might be a blessing that civilization is not built like nature even. I'm coming to this realization that the reason it could be a blessing because it adds to our perception of nature. We should use how life is now to wonder about how advanced it can be. And honestly, here, it's not about like, here, I'll be real with the viewers. This is what's going on. Forget the title of the episode. As one human being to another, I'm considering my only affiliation with you that we're just part of the same species, and this is kind of like, a broadcast terminal. I'm just saying this, to, let's say, even all humanity, whoever human that hears this. Right now in 2025, we are in the self phase of life. We're in the self era. I don't know when, but I think it might be soon, or it should start. The engines should start running. We're gonna go into the species era. We're not there yet. And after the era of like our whole honor systems being about the greatness of the species and realizing what the greatness is, the greatness it's present in the greatness of it, what it is in the presence of. I'm saying to you, like, people are like, yo, man, what's human destiny gonna be like? And I'll be like, yeah, let me give you a glimpse. So, all of this is just the ability of one human mind to wonder about a probability of the future. But in my view, if I was like, yo, man, just like how in ChatGPT, like, let me tell you how ChatGPT affected me. In ChatGPT, you're like, make this better, it does it. Then you're like, make it even more better, it does it. And then I was like, wait a minute, what if I do this to myself, to my own thoughts? And if I was to do this right now, the title of this lecture is ultimately coming to the question of let's look at what the unnatural is. And when we look at the unnatural is being man, even whatever way it's made, it's being man moved. Humanity is building civilization. Civilization, by definition, is the expression of the all that is human here. Okay? That means this might be weird, but in the future, like if I was like, let's say somehow I was there in the future and they're like, yo, man, androids aren't people. And I'll be like, wait a minute, man. If it looks like a human, then it is semi-human. That means it's ideologically human. That means in the future, there's going to be semi-human citizenship. Yeah, 100% that's going to happen. I shouldn't say 100%, God knows. But what I'm trying to say to you is that, think of it, let me simplify it. You have a body, you have a mind. If the mind moves faster than the body, how long will it require the body, if civilization is unnatural, moving towards an unnatural reality, how long will the biological organism and biological life be required? That means in a span of, let's say, 100 to 200 years, could all human beings be living in pods? Like just they're living in pods, but they're living, like, let's say, I don't know, like 600 years or something, or 200 years or whatever. So they're just like they're not ever living a physical life so that they can endure their psychological life. The future's gonna be bizarre, man. Like, people don't understand. They're like, yo, man, do you want to be a time traveler? The person's like, whoa. It's like the question is being asked, do you want to see how weird the world can be? And I'll be like, no. Time traveling is a waste of time. In the future, they're gonna be like, yo, man, this podcaster named Mr.Within said time traveling is a waste of time, and it like broke, you know, the cultural programs. Anyways, whatever. We gotta be like, okay, we're natural beings. We're in an unnatural system. Do we make the unnatural system natural, or do we become unnatural, or do we live this symbiosis of unnatural lifestyle with natural being? And I think in an advanced civilization, there will be freedoms that we cannot even feel now. let me tell you something. I'm going to just kind of go into notebook in front of me, kind of actually giving you a lecture here kind of vibe. So guys, to wrap this up, just say some final things. Let me see, it's on, yeah. Could our digestive system be proof of why our ideological existence is unnatural? Our ideological existence is unnatural because it's a system built on language, and it's also many reasons why it's unnatural. Now, we are saying if the ideological existence is unnatural, let's say, how is the biological digestive system proof that the ideological existence is unnatural? So it would be that because the digestive system is the natural. So if our cells are behaving in a certain way, we have to wonder, should human egos and civilization also function that way? That may be a potential, I don't know, God knows, genius value to this lecture. So anyways, where does this all lead? Where does my attempts at giving a lecture lead? It leads to this realization that if we had just enough fascination to be like, what is the most advanced being? We had this question. We would see the most advanced being is a being outside of the simulation. The original, we call this, let's say, to simplify for humanity, God. But because I am Muslim, I call it Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And to me, Allah surpasses my ideas and emotions. So to me, it has an untouchable reverence. The idea of God, it has see, for some people it has like, okay, semi-value, but for some people, when they realize what it's pointing to, a relationship with the original powers to this world, God is the most advanced view, okay, as a conscious being. Then, so what happens is we have God, okay, then we have world, then we have species, then we have self. So the most advanced being is God. God is beyond, is beyond worldly, beyond worldly. Guys, sorry, as I'm saying this, I'm also writing. So God is beyond the world, beyond form, beyond shape, beyond eventhood, beyond emotion, beyond mystery. That's the God. That's one of the powers of the presence of God. In Islam, one of God's names, holy names, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, is the all-knowing. All-knowing means the whole system is being made, is aware by the system. So when you realize you're in the presence of an intelligence that no deception can exist for, you find yourself in an interesting moment where we're like, okay, God knows what needs to happen. I'm a member of the human species. The species is behaving in all sorts of ways in accordance to everybody having a different DNA. But how do we wonder about what is when I say advanced civilization, I'm saying what's the most advanced? Like, just as not something like, yo man, this is your mighty task, you must like Hercule or something. I'm just saying, like, yo man, just if we were just like, just chilling and wondering like, okay, how fascinating is this idea that what is the most advanced state of human civilization? That to me is cool. Like everything else that's personal is not that cool as much as, yo, what's happening with the species? So there is God, the system admin. I want to say that God is beyond the simulation. We're inside the simulation. Inside the simulation, just to simplify, from one angle, it's just like 3 levels. There's a level of world, there's a level of species, there's a level of self. I'm giving this lecture as an act of my level of self to my level of species, and also to the level of the world in accordance to how it can expand there. Do you know? But what I'm trying to tell you is that if they tell me, hey, what's the edge of yourself? I'll be like, okay, I gotta say the edge of the world. And if they say, what is the edge of the world? I gotta be like, okay, it's like the edge of myself. And if they say, what is the edge of the human? I would say it's the edge of the species. So technically, the human psyche comes to a point where it's like, yo, man, if everything is an information processing, we're inside this coded system, and we are code, and we have our own ego code. And once we step beyond our ego code, we begin to realize that the system is being administered beyond our expectation or emotional future landed view. What I'm trying to say is that in the world, the 3 great questions is, what is the most advanced self? You guys can write this down if you want. What is the most advanced self? This is level 1 of Earth, let's say. Then we have level 2. We have species. What is the most advanced expression of our species? You gotta wonder about that. Like, to me, it's just like right now as I'm talking about it, I have a sense of fascination. Then the next question is, what is the world, what is the most advanced world? What does it look like? So right now, I'm telling you, I'm just giving you this code of being like, yo, man, what does your most advanced self look like? What does your most advanced species look like? What does your most advanced world look like? And let's say as an exercise, you wrote these all down, and I'd be like, great, now you can see what's beyond your world. So your task as a human is to wonder about, okay, what am I doing with myself? And then you're like, what is my species even doing? And then, oh my God, what is the world at all? Right? Like your mind goes there. So, whoever you are, let's say in level 1 on Earth, children are all level 1. Any person with that just identifies as a character in a story is still level 1. You could be like an 80-year-old man, but if you think you're a character in a story, I'll be like, okay, well, I don't know what to do with that. So level 1, you're like, what am I gonna do with myself? And then you're like, what is the most advanced thing? What's the most advanced version of me? And I'm like, yo, man, is the most advanced version of me even physical? And I'm like, okay, it's like too much philosophy for one thing. Where I'm going with this is I'm simplifying something that at its core has a value in how you may perceive the reality. That's it. I'm saying, I'm like, if I don't have kids, but if I did, like this, I'm telling you, this is the view, for at least for in this moment, in this recorded moment. I'm like, okay, I'm a human being. I've entered the system. The user has logged in. The player is present. And right now, I have three, let's say, sector. How do I say? What's the? I have three challenges, problems to solve before I can go to the next level. In regards to how I perceive myself, where do I get my value from? And you'll be like, okay, I get my value from me being like, okay, I'm this or that. And then I get my value from, let's say, how others, perceive me. Then I get a value from how, like, even nature treats me, the world. So as if, like, okay, I'm seeing the level of self. Okay, I'm seeing the level of, like, species. Okay, I'm seeing it at the level of the world. Okay, now what else? Okay, we've reached the point where man's mind can't go further, and the rest is only at the mercy of the system admin. Do you understand? Somebody could be like Sadhguru. Are you enlightened? Like Sadhguru is this person that I used to talk about on the channel, but my views are completely different. But somebody would be like, Sadhguru, if you're enlightened, why are you still here in the world? And Sadhguru would be like, I'm waiting, or something, some sort of answer. I still have work to do. But when you realize there's a higher power here, when you realize life is beautiful because it is a privilege, it's like something given to you. This might sound bizarre, but you can feel some days that, I don't know, so I've felt sometimes that it's like, is this given? Like, did I order, excuse me, like, did I order from Amazon a world to look at in the morning? And I realized, no, this is a greater power, a higher power here. And it took a while for me to acknowledge it. Guys, I've put the notepad away, and this is just like late night real talk of, somebody tired. They're like, yo, man, how was this guy's lecture? It's like, yeah, he was pretty tired. But he pointed to some things. Let me create myself before I destroy myself. For whatever man acts like he knows, the higher power knows more. Whatever show I put or any human being puts for you when they communicate to you, if we choose to be purely honest, we reach a reality where you begin becoming concerned about how far humans in the future are going to remain human. And this might be a little far-fetched for some people, but if it's too much for you, like 100% tune out of this lecture. Yeah, guys, if you feel what I'm saying is heavy for you, like tune out. But for me, I've become comfortable with the unknown, because the fascination of what it actually is what inspires me. Recently, like this week has been a kind of like, profound week for me, because every day I've woken up and I'm like, what does it mean for life to have a value? Like, whose value? Like, am I setting the what life? Like, if somebody's like, "Yo, man, how valuable is this life?" Let's see. Somebody asked this question, and all the philosophers in reality were like, "Yo, man, yo, we gotta answer this mighty question." Where is the value starting from? And I think deep down, whatever age, whatever you are as a human being, whatever kind of human being you are, you've wondered about, like, okay, what's behind this all? Like, I've wondered about that. They're like, "Yo, man, is this guy being like mystical or spiritual?" I'll be like, "Hell, like, don't even bring it there." I put spirituality away because religion was way more fascinating. Because spirituality was self-rewarding, religion is, you realize you're a limited being. Do you know how mature you have to be as a member of a species? Do you know how mature you have to be as a member of a species to, in some sense, be like, okay, would an emotionally mature species be bothered by becoming an unnatural technological entity? Do you understand? That means the only thing natural about humans in the future could just be the human idea and whatever's been archived about it. I'm saying I don't think God. I think God's will is way more advanced than this. I'm just saying, when we, sorry guys, being a little unprofessional here, but whatever. It's a talk. Sorry guys, I gotta end the talk, but I just wanted to tell you this. First of all, thank you for listening this long, and rapidly, I apologize to God and to my fellow species. If I mean, I tried my best in conveying like the importance of, wondering about how natural reality will be as we go forth as a species. To me, a lot of the stuff that's concerning us now, it also fascinates me how the future generations will not have the experiential context to some of the problems they will see here on Earth. Just like how we didn't have the experiential context in the past. And so human beings have to wonder about their, level 1 relationship with themselves, level 2 relationship with their species, level 3 relationship with their world, level 4 relationship with the system admin. I find like this is how simple, how like this is a way I found of like communicating it. I think it's workable, like it's simple enough, like how like there's first aid kits, like this is a workable model. And excuse me, and the point of all this is to just tell the viewer, hey, you're a member of the human species. The human is extracting its definitions out of its world, but its world is limited, it's changing, and kind of like you can explore as much as you want the simulation, but the simulation doesn't have an end. That means a fool is excited by infinity, a wise man is scared by it. I'm not Christian, but in Christianity they have this view, I believe, of salvation, like ultimate redemption. How free are you from yourself? If you're a human being, that you find yourself free from your own ideas, you've reached a point where you're gonna be like, where's the honor of the species that's I've been waiting for? And you're gonna realize you have the privilege of becoming one of the pioneers of it. They say, let's create jobs for people. You know, have you heard this in politics? Well, guess what? Right now, just imagine the future, and you're gonna create so many jobs. The issue is what we've become content with, that is limited. And to surpass one's limit doesn't mean to go against divine law. It means to acknowledge the original power and then live in the simulation, move in the simulation. If they're like, how is your relationship with, like, after becoming religious, what is your relationship with like life like? And I'll tell people, like, it's like this. It's like every moment has to have a central point where the value begins. The value for that, for me, is God. Because it is God, everything else in the world is not important. And because I'm asking the question in the world, even that's not important. The system admin is important. Do you understand? I'm like this, an example of one human being in history that was like, yo man, I've consciously evolved to realize this whole life that I've been thinking that I'm this ego, it's actually being administered by a power that is not limited to worldly form. So it's kind of realizing the presence. Like, think of it this way. You're in a simulation, but because God is watching, you're also in the presence of God. So right now, as I'm giving this lecture, I am here, myself. All of you guys are, like, I should say it this way, my whole species is here. And then I'm like me and my species and I. That's gonna be like my memoir. It's like my species and I will at some point be like, what are we all doing in the world? And eventually, when our attention goes to the world, the cultures we're living in now, regardless of how much our ancestors and forefathers kind of like held on to them, we're not going to forget religion. We're going to get closer to the system admin, to God. I'm saying this for the future generations. See, right now, if they're like, what kind of connections do you have? The person's like, okay, I have a connection to like the natural world as a biological organism. I have a connection to the system admin because I am in the presence of it being tested. When I say I'm Muslim, that means I have accepted that in this reality, the system admin is testing me. And when I wonder about, okay, what is this test? For me, the answer, the depth of it came from just only one passage from the Holy Quran, where it said God has, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created man and jinn kind for the sole purpose of worshiping him. And when this, like, how do I tell you it, guys? Like, when this view just entered my awareness, I was like, no way. I'm here trying to build an advanced civilization. Islam is beautifully saying, you're not here to just build the most advanced stuff. You're here to have a conscious relationship with the higher power. Now, some people are going to be like, is this relationship like a phone call? And I'll be like, no. It's not worldly character communicating to another character. God is not a character in a world in Islam. It's mightier than any sort of anything it has created. To the degree that as you hear the Quran, it's like everything in existence is praising the Almighty. We just don't notice it. Do you know? When I say praising the Almighty, that means the system knows the origin. We're like this simulation. Let me say it this way. It's kind of bizarre, but it's like, I'm going to count the simulations. One simulation is existence. In that simulation, we have a physical simulation. Then we have a chemical simulation. Then we have a biological simulation. Then we have a psychological simulation. Then we have a linguistic simulation. Then we have a technological simulation. And then we realize, no way. We're living in all these simulations throughout the day, and we think we're not, like, and religion is like from the beginning, like, yo, you're in a simulation. So to me, this was, sorry guys, just 1 second. Alright, whatever, guys. I wanted to say something about WhatsApp, but whatever. Anyways, guys, to finish this. First of all, thank you for listening. And last of all, you're a human being, just like me, and you're in a world, and you can't see the edge of this world with your biological eyes. And you can even close your eyes and visualize what you were just seeing with your eyes, and even wonder about, like, let's say if you're seeing trees, like, flying between the trees or whatever. And yet, you are still here. So our intelligence is working in it's like a simulating, cycling intelligence. So I'm saying, like, yo man, we gotta wonder about the most advanced state of being, because it's like our responsibility. And it's not that we will know the answer, but when we go and attempt to answer that question, we get to see what the most advanced state of humanity is. And in order for humanity to be advanced, it needs to have an advanced relationship with all the selves that are making up humanity. They're like, yo, that person is a bad guy, that person is a good guy. I'll be like, yo man, whatever way we brand and play the symbolism game, what it actually is species on a rock. I shouldn't say on a rock, a species in a place. And wisdom tells us it's a simulus testing zone. You're being reviewed. Do you understand? Like, I'm one of those human beings that right now I feel I'm if I was in a room, I'd feel like the higher power is always in the room. Now, I acknowledge the higher power and I look at my species and I wonder about, okay, What's the most coolest way we can build civilization? 100%, just like as an example. Let's say if I wanted to cook an omelet right now, somebody on this earth can cook an omelet so much more advanced than me, probably somebody in Japan. Okay? They could create the way more advanced omelets. So when I look at civilization right now, I'm like, yo, there could be a version of this civilization so much more advanced than right now. So when I know that probability exists, I just pray for it to God, and then I wonder about what the species can do. And I give these talks. Anyways, guys, thank you for listening. Rabbi Firdi, Rabbi Firdi, Rabbi Firdi. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. In the name of God, the most benevolent, the most merciful. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. All praise to God. Excuse me, all praise due to the Lord of the worlds. Ihdina sirat al-mustaqim. May God guide us to the direct path. I'm not claiming to know anything, to tell anybody anything. I'm just saying we're all creations and expressions of the original power that simulated all of this. And we're in the presence of the original power that simulated this reality we're in, and we can act conscious of it or unconscious. But when you do actually become conscious of it, you begin to realize the value of being conscious in a world is realizing the fascination is because you don't know what it is, but the divinity of it is how the system administers you. It's like God watching over everything before you can even watch over yourself. And it's a notion of the power of acknowledging that this system is not some hollow, empty room where everything's being fabricated. It's in actuality a system being administered. There's value here, but what that value truly means and how every generation in history looks upon that value is like, there's depth there. Anyways, have a good night. Thank you for listening. I have said that too much. It's like, thank you for listening, And thank you for listening to me say thank you for listening.